CEOs, what's up, your boy Option? I'm back with another video. Sick intro, right? Anyways, embrace your failures. Don't duck, don't dodge, don't deflect, reflect. There is something that can be taken away from our failures to then ensure a better outcome moving forward. And the only way for that outcome to become better, one that is not a failure, one that brings us joy, one that we then reap success from, is by our choice and willing to accept that we made a mistake. And it's okay because now we can learn to then progress. A lot of the times, failure brings us down to the point where we might not even want to try again, where we feel as though that it's not meant for us. Try again. Reason being, the feeling after turning a failure into a success is worth living for. So embrace your mistakes and let them be the reason why you aren't settling for nothing. You know why? When you do nothing, it's nothing. And something is better than nothing. So let that something represent you embracing the fact that you are worthy of more than just failure, that you can do better, that you understand that failure is possible. Yet you also understand that success is attainable. Failure can teach us a whole lot more than success. You see the ins and outs of what went wrong. That information then allows us to correct our faults. So instead, what went wrong goes right. Reality is what you do next. That being said, I have two quotes that I like to just toss in there that I feel like go best with what I had to share with y'all. So the first one says, don't bury your failures, let them inspire you. Let me say that one more time. Don't bury your failures, let them inspire you. That's an unknown quote, so shout out to the unknown person who said it. And the last one says this, the only guarantee for failure is to stop trying. I'll say that one more time. The only guarantee for failure is to stop trying. And that's by John C. Maxwell. So shout out to you, John. And so if you want to be sure that it's just going to be failure, then stop trying. But if you are trying to correct a mistake, outgrow from a failure, something that had happened that, kind of just brought you down, is failure, do something about it. Get out of your head, reflect about it, analyze where you went wrong. Ask yourself, okay, what did I do wrong? Can I do better? Of course I can do better. Okay, how can I get there? All right, I'm going to do this. But a lot of the times, we're missing this element of encouragement. And I feel like when we grow up, like when I reflect just growing up, just like hear me out. When we're growing up, a lot of us go to school in a sense, right? And failure is very, very, very apparent in school. Failure, however, in school, in the educational system, is like prison in a sense, basically. If you fail a test, an exam, that's prison. Like you have failed life. You are locked up, basically. Like it feels like you can't do better, let alone you don't deserve to do better because you failed. There's not really that encouragement, there's no encouraging factor or element. Yeah, we have teachers and professors, and respectfully, a lot of them do a good job. But also, you got to understand, a lot of people who go to school obviously feel like they're a failure because there's no encouragement. There's no, like, for me personally, I had to be my rock. I had to be that person. Like, of course, I knew at the end of the day, I had my own choice. Was I going to let that first exam going into college, my chemistry, BChem, I think 142. I have this stuff right here. Look, this stuff, like I have my lab books over here and stuff like that. B142, the first series of chemistry. My first exam got a 55%. 55%. Never even scored that low ever in high school, let alone in any other class. For the most part, I've never, and I tried. So how am I going to flunk? Like, that's a failing grade. Isn't that a 55? When I came back, there was already people dropping like flies. A few weeks later, people still dropping like flies. Guess what? I was still there, though. I didn't let that one grade affect me. I didn't let that grade define me. I didn't say, yo, this mistake that I made, I studied all these hours. I studied with these people. I did group studies, all this, and I still did bad on my first exam in college. I didn't let that get to me. I didn't say, yo, this is me now. I'm a failure. I would have been a failure or let that been a failure of mine if I had stopped right there and then. Now, I'm not here to say like, yo, those people who dropped like flies, who, left is now our failures. No, I hope to God, and I'm sure a lot of them found a different subject or found something better for them that they fit in or felt like was way better for them, and they're glad that that stuff didn't work out. I'm sure I know there's actually people like that. So it's like, it's good. But what I'm just trying to say is like, there's a lot of discouragement that we feel, that we literally feel. And it's overwhelming, and there's not that factor of encouragement a lot of the times in the educational system. Because it feels like sometimes professors are just there to teach you something that is real in that sense because it's possible. So it's educating or it's worth educating, but there's no actual like teaching of, hey, this is possible. You can learn this. You can attain whatever the goal of this class is. A lot of the times it feels like that stuff, that part of the element in school is lacking. So a lot of us don't even feel encouraged. We don't have that encouraging element unless that's already within us. And a lot of times it's not found until we have that time for ourselves to be like, you know what, let me figure out who I am, or like, let me like build some confidence within myself. Because guess what? If I can grind, if I can still stay in school and do what I did in the past 4.5 years, and there being a pandemic out of nowhere and me getting a minor after all of that, on top of that, just doing the classes that I did, like, that's a whole nother discussion. What I'm just trying to say is like, I didn't let that grade define who I am. I didn't let the failure, the anxiety, I embraced it. I let that stuff inspire me, because it's like, how am I going to just let something stop me from getting to something that I want to do or attain? My point is just like, I'm trying to be that encouraging factor so you understand like, yo, embrace your failures. But I want you to also understand, like, let that stuff inspire you, like that quote says. Like, embrace it. Don't deflect it. Don't dodge it. Because, of course, if you don't do anything about it, it's just going to stay like that. And then every time you think about it, what are you going to think about? It being a failure instead of something else. It being going from a failure to a success. You won't be thinking about the process, the work that you put in to get yourself out that mess or mistake, or you righting your wrong. Like, like that encouragement factor is lacking. So let me just let you know, embrace your failures. Do not deflect it. That part is not even pushed out. People are not telling you. People are not telling us, especially in school, respectfully. Yo, failure is okay. We learned. This is like, failure is literally foundational. Like, it's part of like, you know what I'm saying? There's this, what is it? Like in Drake's song, I think it's The Love All. I know I'm back with another Drizzy quote or like lyric, but it's like, he said, lots of falling outs help me build foundation. Let me just say this. Lots of failures help you build foundations. Same type of, like, you know what I'm saying? Same type of correlation right there, all right? It correlates. It goes well with each other. And let me just say this. Lots of exams, a lot of headaches, a lot of nights of studying, but it helped me build foundation. Not the school foundation. I don't even care about that part. It helped me realize that no matter the score, no matter the situation, I can still do better. I still believe in myself. So a lot of those mishaps, a lot of those mistakes, a lot of my errors, whatever happened in school, I didn't let that define me. I let my grind, I let my efforts define who I am and who I was as a student, if that makes sense. Now let's get into the job aspect, because I want to add this into here. So just, story time kind of thing. About 4.5, 5 years ago, I was working at Starbucks. Probably the only closest thing in terms of like the food industry that I like tapped into. Because personally, like back then, I was kind of like just, I still am. I mean, I see it like, let's be real, a lot of food places aren't the best at taking care of their people, or at least like, especially like, like, yeah, like as a college student, the jobs that you find is that like in the food industry isn't probably going to be the best. So for me, I was like, Starbucks is like the closest thing to that, I feel like, and I'm okay with that because at least for me at Starbucks, it was kind of lit. I was doing the card drive-through thing. I was doing cashier. My point is though, guess what? I got let go. I got fired because I had some like issue in terms of coming in early in the morning or whatever, and they weren't having it. So they were like, you got to go. So me being a college student and me not really understanding like in the real world when you're not in school, because school is like already its own world, but in the real world though, like in terms of job, there's a lot of people out there that need security, that security of a job that helps them provide for their family. I was out here just hustling as a college student, trying to get as much money as I can to do whatever I can do on my free time outside of school to enjoy myself. So, but back then I wasn't really thinking about like, oh my gosh, like I failed, like I got let go. I'm not worthy of this job, or this job thinks that I can't work for them. What about other jobs? Am I not worthy of? There are people actually in this world who actually even think like this or feel like, because there's no encouragement. There's no like the one thing, if you get let go from a job, you're afraid that like like other jobs might let them know, or like what I'm saying, like there's all these type of like situations that can happen, that can occur. So it's like at the end of the day, when you look at it, yeah, me being let go or me being what's it called, is kind of like a failure because I didn't keep the job. But let me just say this: 4 or 5 years later, when I look back, one, I kept going. I did a different avenue. I went and did some security. I tried out different jobs. I didn't let that one job define who I was. I found a job that best suited like my time frame. Found out that I could do job, like I can work during the day instead of early mornings. I also did graveyard shifts. And guess what? Flash forward 4.5 years later, 5 years later, I'm done with 9 to 5. I realized after learning myself and getting to know who I really am as a person, and what I'm okay with and what I'm not okay with, I realized the 9 to 5 is not for me. And guess what? It's been like 3 or 4 November, December, January, February, almost 5 months, 4 months, since I had last worked the 9 to 5, and I quit that. I'm good. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm not focused on that. But what I'm just trying to say is like, failure or no failure, your choice to embrace your failure and to get yourself out of whatever situation you want to get out of. Just takes time. Just got to be real with yourself. Just understand that it's possible. But a lot of us are taught, let alone, it's just perceived in a sense, failure isn't good. No, failure is bad if you stick, like if you're stuck there, like you stop there. You don't do anything to get yourself out of failure. That's bad, because then you're stuck at failure. You're doing nothing. Get yourself out of it and you're good for it. And a lot of people don't want to encourage others to get out of their mess or their situation. So let me just tell you, bruh, trust me. Trust me. Embrace it. Don't deflect it. Don't dodge it. Don't, what I'm saying, feel like, you know what, it's whatever. No, it's not whatever, bruh. Like, don't settle for nothing. Don't settle for less. Don't settle for failure. Because you're more than that. You are possible. Like, you are capable, not possible. You are capable in doing more. That's what I meant to say. Anyways, now I'm getting into like a whole 15-minute segment, and this was really supposed to be like a short video, but I just felt like just saying like, look, here's a few failures of my own in the past that I look back at, and I'm like, look, I could have just let them become failures, and then I could have been in a different route. I wouldn't be even talking to you today, probably, you know? But I had it in me. You know what we call it in Amarnia? Ambessa, like lion, like, you know, like that type of like motto. For me personally, it's like my spirit animal. But like you got a heart of a tiger, a heart of a lion. I just keep going. I don't stop. Like, I'm not gonna let these kind of things affect who I am. I'm not gonna let it define me. And growing up, I feel like it's the encouragement. Like, yo, if you feel it's okay, I feel like that's the lack. That's the one thing that was lacking. Like, yo, because I was always taught, like, yo, failure is bad. Don't do it. It's hut. We don't want that. It's not acceptable. Yeah, failure is not acceptable. Like, to a certain extent, like, it's not acceptable if you just let it become a failure. That's not acceptable. But hey, failure comes, like, it's like life. Life has ups and downs. Life isn't perfect. Life happens. You know the phrase, life happens, shit happens? Yeah, but it's your choice to just let things be how it is, or you can choose to react in a way where you make sure it doesn't happen again, or you get yourself out of that situation where it's not a failure no more, where you right your wrongs. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I really hope I said everything the best way that I could, where you now understand what I meant by just embrace your failures. All right. And yeah, it's your boy Siobhan. I'm gonna catch y'all tomorrow. I love y'all. Peace.